My greenhouse is a disaster zone. I've just been too busy to stay on top of it. So today, I'm going to be clearing it out, but this isn't a video showing you me tidying this greenhouse. That would be tedious. No, in there, amongst all of these plants, there are some underappreciated gems, some little discoveries waiting to re-emerge. And so I'm going to clear this whole space out. And as I do, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the most interesting and fascinating finds that pop up. But the first step in the process is emptying the whole space out. Here we go. That's so not going to work. Anyway, all that remains now is all the rubbish. But let me direct your attention now to the collection, which is now over there. So here they are. All the plants that once lived in that greenhouse. They're all going to have to prove themselves to get back in there. But I reckon if we have a poke around, you're going to notice a few fascinating, surprising, and unfortunate little gems that are probably worth talking about. So let's not delay, let's have a look at them right now. Now that I've got a beautiful empty space to fill up, the first plant I thought I'd share with you is this delightful little flowering Pachypodium. I was under the impression that this was a Pachypodium brevicule. They're those low growing, flat, almost tumor looking plants that grow on the granitic hills of Madagascar. However, while Pachypodium brevicule does have a delightful yellow flower, it usually has a peduncle, peduncle being the flower stalk, that's much lower to the plant. And so now I'm wondering, is this in fact a hybrid? Pachypodium brevicule is noted for being very difficult in cultivation, and I have been waiting for this one to die now for 2 years. The fact that it hasn't perhaps is because it's got a bit of hybrid vigor about it. I'm going to have to let this continue to grow, and as it puts on size, maybe there'll be some hints as to whether I just have a strangely flowering true species Pachypodium brevicule, or maybe there's a little bit of something else in it. Anyway, it's going straight in. Here's a pot that doesn't look like much, but the two plants in here I reckon are two of the most stunning in my whole collection. They're just very, very finicky. This pot is housing a plant called Euphorbia nardiae. It's another Madagascan plant. I've been moving all my Madagascan euphorbias into the back corner there. And this cordiciform tuberous rooted plant has got some of the most stunning leaf patterns you're going to see in any euphorbia. The only problem I find with them is that they're addicted to heat. They only leaf out for me over the absolute peak of summertime. They spend 9 months of the year just dormant under the soil. So it's a bit of a shame, but the good news is these guys flowered for me this year. I've got a few babies coming along. Maybe, you never know, maybe they'll be a little bit more tolerant of cooler temperatures. Anyway, this is going to go join all its Madagascan brothers and sisters. Now I've got all the Madagascan euphorbias in, and now I'm moving in some mainland African euphorbias. And I thought I'd share with you some real obscure, very tiny miniature little plants that are very hard to find in cultivation, but they're really, really cool. This first one is called Euphorbia hadromortica, and it comes from northeastern Africa, around Somalia, that kind of area. You'll actually find Somalia has got some of the most fascinating succulent plants on the planet. They're just not particularly well known because of the state of society and politics and the instability of the region. Now, Euphorbia hadromortica has a very similar growth style to one of its cousins, South African Euphorbia buplerifolia, with this kind of thickened, almost cordiciform succulent trunk and a spray of leaves coming out the top. I think I know why this plant is very hard to find in cultivation. It doesn't really grow from cutting, it doesn't lend itself to that sort of propagation. And it's one of those plants where the seeds just seem very, very reluctant to germinate. I collected about 20 seeds off my own plants this season, and absolutely none of them germinated. So, bit of a tricky one. I'm going to treasure these, make sure I keep them happy over winter. Anyway, let me show you another plant from the same part of Africa. This here is a plant that I think typifies just the absurd nature of the way that succulent plants can grow. This is called Euphorbia pachydermis. That name pachydermis meaning fish skin. And if you get a good look at it, it really does look like it's covered in fish scales. Absolutely fascinating. Another plant from that same region of the world, and this one has got a bit of a reputation for being quite tricky to grow, especially on its own roots. But I haven't found that to be the case. Interestingly enough, this season, rather than continuing to grow as one head, it started sending out all these offsets all over the crown of the plant. Not exactly sure why, not sure if the growing point got damaged or what precisely happened. Certainly adds character though to another fantastic, obscure, and amongst some of the big plants in here, easily overlooked species. Now I'm going to share with you a really fascinating Southeast Asian caudiciform plant. These little seedlings, these are called Philanthus mirabilis, and although you can't really tell at the moment, there are these very thick tuberous roots starting to form under the soil line. The thing I find most fascinating about these is they're the sort of plant that will tell you when they're thirsty. They also tuck themselves into bed every night. You can see this plant, the leaves, they're kind of splayed wide open. This one is well watered and very happy. But for the sake of illustration, I've kept this one a little drier, and you can see the leaves on these particular plants have closed up. Now, I don't exactly know, but I expect that this is an adaptation to reduce exposure to the sun and prevent it from drying up when it hasn't had a lot of water recently. If you've got a better idea, let me know in the comments. But for some reason, they also close up every night. It's fantastic to watch and makes these a very unique species. Something that's well worth knowing about them though, they have been heavily poached. If you see a Philanthus on the market, you know, big chunky thing with these sorts of leaves coming out of it, very good chance it's been ripped straight out of habitat in Thailand. So buyer beware. Go looking for little seedlings like these ones, and you know, you'll be doing the environment a happiness. Now I know that there are a lot of Latin plant names that are inscrutable. They make no sense. But I'm kind of fond of this one. This one is Pseudolithos cubiformis. It's a plant also from Somalia and that part of Africa. And as it grows into this really intriguing cube shape. That Latin name, Pseudolithos cubiformis, translates to false rock shaped like a cube. How good's that? I'm just geeking out on language right now, but fantastic plant with a fantastic name. Kind of hard to keep them alive, but this one's doing okay so far. Now just recently I had an episode on flowering plants and I featured in it this particular plant here, Ceropegia ampliata, which unfortunately at the time wasn't in flower, but you can see now it's absolutely going off. And these are the flowers that trap flies. If you get a good look inside, they've got these little reverse hairs. Fly crawls in, gets stuck, covered in pollen, comes out a few days later after the flower drops off, goes to the next plant and off you go. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I thought, I can't not share it with you, especially now it's just absolutely flowering profusely. Amazing plant. Anyone remember that mystery Huernia I talked about in my video the other day? Well, it's flowered and the mystery has become a little less mysterious, but I'm still not 100% sure on the identity of this plant. I put it out to the experts and they were divided. Some people said Huernia macrocarpa and others said Huernia schneideriana. Do I know the answer? No, but maybe you do. If you've got any deeper insight into the nature of this plant with this particular flower, please let me know. I'd love to have certainty around what exactly this plant is. Either way, it's a cool one and it's not one that was already in my collection, so I'm excited to share it with you guys. Now it's not just some interesting plants that I've found today. Get a load of these. These are seed pods from a plant called Pterodiscus macatiniensis. Really interesting little cordiciform shrubs. Got one here I can share with you. And they've spent all summer flowering. I've got 2 of them. And after they flower, they develop these little green seed pods. In time they dry up, fall off, and I'm led to believe that there's 4 seeds per seed pod. They need a bit of time. They don't germinate straight away, they need aging. So I'm going to put them aside over the winter, and I'll give these a crack when spring rolls around. Fascinating. And the last plant that I want to share with you guys is this Adenium obesum. This is a bit of an update for you. If you saw my video about rescuing plants on the verge of death, this is one and the same. The Adenium obesum that I bought at the nursery that was riddled with rot. Beheaded it. Looked like just a sad little stump. It's going to lose the bulk of its vegetation, but most of it's dead anyway. So here we go. Hopefully we'll see some sap bleeding out of this plant. And there we go. But it's had a couple of months to recover, and how good is it looking? Fantastic. Not only that, but the cortex is fatter than ever. So it just goes to show, if your plants aren't looking too good, take a knife to them, and you never know, they'll probably bounce back. I'm really happy with this. Anyway, I'm not even close to finishing this job. It might look like I'm there, but I've actually got trays and trays of plants all around my feet. So this is going to take probably a few more hours at the very least. Not something I'm looking forward to, but when it's done, it's actually going to be pleasant to get back into this greenhouse and spend time in here. So I'll leave you to it. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I'll catch up with you next time.